What do modern military uniforms have in common with those of the Roman Empire? You might be surprised by the answer. And today, we're going to find out. I'm the host, and this is the evolution of military uniforms from the Romans to the present day. The evolution of military uniform began thousands of years ago with the Roman Empire. Soldiers were generally issued tunics and a cloak to wear over their armor. The main purpose of the uniform was to identify friend from foe. Different legions had different colored cloaks, but as the empire expanded, so did the variety of colors and styles. By the late Roman period, soldiers could be identified not only by their cloak color, but also by their helmet style and the emblems they displayed on their shields. As the Roman Empire fell and new kingdoms rose in Europe, military uniforms began to take on the characteristics of the medieval period. Knights wore chainmail and plate armor, and their helmets were often decorated with their personal crest. This was a time when the focus was on identifying the individual soldier rather than the unit they belonged to. The variety of uniforms was huge and often quite elaborate. During the Renaissance, military uniforms became more standardized as professional standing armies became more common. Soldiers were still identified by the emblem on their armor, but now they were also given distinctive clothing to wear when they weren't in battle. This was the beginning of the military uniform as we know it today. In the 17th century, military uniforms became even more elaborate with the addition of fancy collars, cuffs, and waistcoats. This was a time when the army was seen as a symbol of the nation and the king's power. The French army in particular was famous for its elegant uniforms. But as the 18th century progressed, the focus shifted to function over fashion. The British military, in particular, began to experiment with uniforms made of lighter materials that were more suitable for tropical climates. This trend continued into the 19th century with the introduction of uniforms made of khaki, a durable and versatile material that could be worn in a variety of climates. During the First World War, military uniforms became more standardized than ever before. Soldiers were identified by the insignia on their uniforms, which indicated their rank and branch of service. This was a time when the need for camouflage and concealment was paramount, so uniforms were generally designed to blend in with the surroundings. After the First World War, military uniforms began to reflect the changing role of women in society. Women were no longer confined to the home, and they began to be seen as equal partners in the fight for national security. This is reflected in the uniforms of the Women's Army Corps and the Women's Royal Naval Service, which were more similar to the men's uniforms than previous women's uniforms. In the Second World War, military uniforms became even more functional with the introduction of new materials such as nylon and rayon. Uniforms were also designed to be more practical, with features such as reinforced knees and pockets for carrying small items. Since the end of the Second World War, military uniforms have continued to evolve. They've become more comfortable and practical, with features such as breathable fabrics and ergonomic designs. Uniforms have also become more diverse to reflect the changing demographics of the military. Today, there is a uniform for every branch of the military and for every gender. And that's the evolution of military uniforms from the Romans to the present day. What do you think? Were there any significant developments that we missed? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.